Namaskar. Welcome to NCERT's live and official channel. PMA Vidya channel 6 to 14 is what you're watching. My name is Amit RANJAN and I'm from CIET. You're also watching us on NCERT's YouTube channel, NCERT official, and NCERT PMA Vidya channel 6 to 12. You can post your comments in the box in YouTube, as well as call us on 8800440559. So, welcome viewers once again to this series which is called Transformational Teaching, in which we are doing grade 6 books. And joining us today is Professor V.S. Mehrotra from PSSCIEB Bhopal. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.
Welcome to the session. So,
Thank you.
this is yet another exciting session about the textbook Kaushal Bodh for Class 6, which is for vocational education, which is a new introduction in NCERT's curriculum. So, we will learn from Professor Mehrotra the importance of including this subject in the curriculum and how teachers can deal with it, and the innovative practices and best practices they can use to teach children. So, sir, let us start with discussing this subject itself. What's the importance of this subject and why has it been included? Vocational education.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Amit Ranjan ji, for this introduction, and I would like to thank NCERT, CIET, particularly for this opportunity to interact with the teachers and students and other stakeholders in education. As the title, you can see transformational teaching. And today we are going to talk about how are we going to transform the teaching learning in our schools. It's very important because when we talk about the existing education system, there's too much focus on lecture-based methods of teaching learning, and it promotes basically the rote learning. So how do we have to shift? And the paradigm shift that we need to bring in is through this transformational teaching methods that we need to use to promote constructivism. So that learners should construct knowledge rather than just go in for rote learning.
Right.
There have been incidences where the students have mentioned that degrees, certificates, medals are no more in use, until and unless you have the competencies. Now, when we say competencies, it means knowledge plus skills plus attitude. Now, all these three things makes the competence. Now, we have to ensure that every child should acquire the necessary knowledge related to the topic or the subject or the domain in which he or she wants to get in, and also acquire the necessary skills. There could be the foundational skills, intermediate and advanced skills throughout the domain. So they have to acquire these skills. Now, when we talk about skills, there are different types of skills. Employability skills that we call as soft skills. And there are hard skills like the vocational skills or the technical skills which one needs to acquire throughout his or her life. So lifelong learning we have to promote through skilling, reskilling, upskilling. All kinds of skillings have to come in. Now, when we say skilling, then it has to be a very systematic process. It can't be haphazard. Because if it is haphazard, like what is happening in the unorganized sector, where skilling is going on through the Ustad Chela technology, but the learners are not being recognized, so there's no formal recognition for them. So we need to have recognition of prior learning in place. Now, when we talk about vocational education in grade 6, this is for the first time that this vocational education as a subject has been introduced in grade 6. This aligns with the recommendations of the National Education Policy 2020, which says that we need to start early in terms of skilling. And that is why we have introduced this as a vocational subject. Vocational education has been introduced from grade 6. So today I'll be talking about the vocational education in the middle stage, that is from grade 6 to 8, with a focus on grade 6 only. So later on we may be talking about grade 7 textbook or
Yeah,
the activity
definitely.
book that we
And
have developed, and then for the 8.
if you could
So
tell
now
us
coming,
what is in the grade 6 book, what all chapters are there. You could discuss parts of it,
yeah,
and then we could move on to discussing how teachers can approach the subject. So if you
right,
have a PowerPoint, which we can see.
yeah. So, as you are all aware that we have now National Curriculum Framework for School Education, where we have 4 stages of education. Foundational stage,
Right.
uh, where play-based learning, focusing on foundational literacy and numeracy, is being promoted. Then we have preparatory stage, which is subject-based learning from grades 3 to 5. And then we have middle stage. Now, vocational education has been introduced as a formal subject from grade 6 to 8. Earlier, we used to have work experience, socially useful, productive work, work education. This kind of activities were going on where students were acquiring certain skills. But this is for the first time that we are introducing it as a project-based learning. The students are going to do these projects in the school or outside the school. They will do internship. They will be doing internship with the experts, and they will be learning those skills from them.
So,
And
sir,
then the
would there be
second
enough
piece,
time, given that they also have to um, study other subjects,
right?
and there is engagement in other subjects also in terms of activities, hands-on learning. So, would there be enough time for vocational education, which requires a considerable amount of time, I believe, for doing these projects?
Yes. So that is why we have now uh, introduced 10 bagless days. The NEP has also recommended that we need to have 10 bagless days where students are not going to bring the bags, the books, and they
Right.
will be doing activities. So that is one way of doing it, the activities. The second is like we have to engage all the teachers. The time that they are devoting in the classroom can also be devoted in the field. Like, for example, if we are doing a vermicompost activity in the school, so the math teacher can tell the dimensions of the tank, the pots, or wherever we are doing the vermicompost, the bins. And the science teacher will tell about the earthworms. The art teacher will ask the students to draw the diagram of the earthworm and label it. The language teacher will ask the students to write a paragraph on vermicompost or about the earthworms. Now, this is going to be an integrated approach. So,
Yeah, that
there
sounds
will be,
amazing. It sounds
yeah.
uh,
So the
it's
students,
both
what we can do is,
multidisciplinary learning
yes, yes,
and
very
teamwork.
right.
Yeah.
So this is basically what we need to promote, and this is what NEP 2020 has talked about: interdisciplinarity,
Right.
multidisciplinarity,
Right.
integrated approach.
Mhm.
All teachers should come together. The focus should be on the learning outcomes
Right.
rather than just teaching as a subject. The teacher says, "I have covered the syllabus. I have taken my periods. I have taken examination. I have given marks. I have given the certificate." That is not enough. Teachers should say, my student has learned how to do vermicomposting, and they can do it. My students have learned how to set up a nursery, and they can do this. My students, they can do animation, they can do coding, they can uh, they can do all sorts of activities which we have conducted, like music, for example. They can play tabla, they can do swimming, they can play football. Now, this is what we expect from the teacher. So, at the end of the year, teachers should be able to tell that these are the skills that we have imparted to our students and they are very good at. You can test them. This is the paradigm shift that we need to bring in both the teaching learning as well as the assessment and certification.
Yeah.
So we expect that in future we certify the competencies rather than just giving marks. Because when you go to a nurse for an injection, uh, she never says that I got 60%, so I can just give this much amount of injection. I don't know what to do about it after I insert the needle in your skin. She is able to give the injection or not. It's not
Right.
60% or 80% or 50%.
Right.
So we have to train our students for perfection, for excellence, for innovation, for creativity. Then only they are going to get good jobs and their income will increase. Likewise for farmers, if we train them systematically, maybe we invite them in schools and impart employability skills, they will be a very good farmers and their income will increase. Same for carpenters, plumbers, electricians. We invite them in our schools and ask our students to be trained by them. And in turn, we train them on employability skills, like how to keep their tools properly, the safety measures that they need to take, the occupational health and safety, what safety measures they need to take if they want to keep their house healthy. Now, this is how we have to align our education with the skilling and also see that it transforms not only the education system but the world of work. So it will lead to a smooth transition from the education to the world of work. So students will be able to get good jobs. And that is why we need to also focus on future skills. And we have covered this artificial intelligence, use of applications in the grade 6th, 7th, and 8th books.
Yeah, I saw that you've talked about artificial intelligence, how to use it for making a kitchen garden, how to
Right,
use Google Lens to
right,
observe objects in the nature and so on. So it's a
right,
very updated kind of curriculum with all the modern technology and what students need to equip themselves for the future. So, sir,
right.
could you uh, tell us about the components of the book of class 6 very
Yeah.
quickly, and then we
So,
can discuss the
very
pedagogy.
right. So, Amitji, I've talked about importance of vocational education, as you can see the definition.
Yeah.
And the NCFSC 2023 also talks about that we need to have a meaningful and productive participation in the world of work by learning hands-on abilities and skills, developing equal respect for head, hands, and heart. And this is what Mahatma Gandhi has said.
Sad.
We need to link our head, hands, and heart. And this also relates to what I mentioned earlier, that when we say about these domains of learning, like the cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affective domain, I also mentioned about the knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So this
Right.
is all related to this, and we have to promote dignity of labor and
Absolutely. Dignity of
students.
labor is something that is very important, with which
Yes,
we get disconnected because we think soft skills and hard skills are different, and our
right.
society treats it in that way. And
Uh,
I remember Vinoba Bhave once said that dignity of labor is very important, and everybody should work with their hand
yeah.
before they have their meal for the day. So,
And Vinoba Bhave also talked about three foundations of learning. He
right.
said the three foundations should be like Yog, Udyog, and Sahayog. And these
Right.
are very important dimensions of our
Yog,
life.
Udyog, or Sahyog.
Sahayog. So Yog actually keeps you physically fit, mentally fit. It develops your mindfulness. You can do meditation also. The Udyog is all about vocational skills, the technical
Working
skills
with
that
the
you need
hand.
to look for the industry to be more productive. And Sahayog, that is cooperation,
Teamwork.
teamwork,
Right.
yes. So that is what we have to develop. Then I was talking about the bagless days. This is another, and I'm happy to tell you that the guidelines for implementation of 10 bagless days activities developed by NCERT PSS CIV was released by the Department of School
So these
Education.
10 bagless days are in a semester or in a whole year?
So it is whole year.
Okay.
And you have to allocate 10 days for this, during which the students are not going to bring their books. It is generally the Saturdays that the states are keeping for the schools, where students they do a lot of activities within the school or outside the school if they get an opportunity. If
Right.
there are, let's say, automobile workshops around the school, they
Mm.
can go there, they get exposure, they can do hands-on activities, they can also do internship during
Mm.
the vacations.
Right.
Now, coming to this activity book of vocational education for grade 6, Kaushal Bodh. This is titled as Kaushal Bodh. And they, we have covered three forms of life forms. For example, developing a vegetable garden and taking care of animals, or uh, developing a habitat garden and things like that, doing a nursery. All those things can be covered in this life form.
Right.
Machine and materials, which involves working with materials such as paper, wood, clay, fabric, and using basic tools such as scissors, garden fork, knife, hammer, screwdriver, and machines. These are simple machines which I have mentioned there, but there are more complicated machines which one can use. Human services, which involve interaction with people to understand their needs and how we can help them. It involves communication and understanding the processes and resources for providing a particular service. For
Right.
example, healthcare, social service, education, food service, community service. Now, this is the content of the book, the activity book for the grade 6, that is on Kaushal Bodh. So there are three parts, as you can see: work with life forms, work with machines and materials, work with in human services, school kitchen garden, biodiversity register, maker skills, animation games, school museum, cooking without fire. And we have given project templates. So if schools want to develop their own projects, they can use this template and develop the projects. Curricular goals and learning outcomes for grade 6 we have given, so they can map it to the learning outcomes they want to achieve through those projects. Exemplar projects also we have given, so we have given a list of the projects which they can take up uh, for grade 6 to 8, then time allocation and mapping of learning. So 110 hours they have to devote in a year on these projects. And the I will quickly go through this the first page of each of these projects. So it will give
Right.
you an
Right.
idea
So that we get
of,
an idea about what
yes,
different sections are.
what the students are going to learn from these projects.
Sure. So the first one is school kitchen garden and
Yes,
biodiversity register. Okay. So
the
what do we have in there?
biodiversity. Yes, this is the one. So they will learn about how to record the biodiversity in different places. They will prepare a presentation on biodiversity, and they can also organize a Kaushal Mela. After completing these projects, the school can organize a Kaushal Mela where they will showcase whatever they have done throughout the year. So that will also help stakeholders like parents and other industry people to understand the importance of skill education, and also how it is helping our children to learn through activities or hands-on activities. So the third one is maker skills, where they learn about simple machines. They make toys from waste using simple machines. They
So simple
learn
machines, for
maintenance.
example,
Pardon?
what kind of simple machines are we talking about here?
So simple machines like liftings. So when we are lifting, we use pulley, you
Right.
know. So that is a simple machine. So when you are dragging things on the slope,
Mm.
so how you to do it? See, in construction, if you look, even the skilled laborers or the unskilled laborers, even they are coming out with innovative ways of lifting bricks from the ground to the top of the building.
Right. They use pulleys, for example.
Yes, even the farmers, they are doing innovation in terms of lifting water
Right.
through hand pumps by, connecting it with the tractor, machines and all.
Right.
So once they learn about how it works, so what is important is the process, not the product. So we have to focus more on the process, the how the machines work, how simple. So starting from simple machines to complex, we need to take them, and this is how they will become innovators. just like we have now adult tinkering lab, in many schools, where students they learn about simple electronics, and later on they are able to make sensor-based things. So this is what we have to promote in our schools. Animation in games is the fourth project that we have developed, so students will learn how to communicate with devices. When we are talking about AI, now this is going to be the first step for them to learn the simple methods of developing AI applications. So school museum. Now I'm happy to tell you that Chhattisgarh has modified this particular project to suit their requirements in terms of teaching their students about the local art and crafts. But Chhattisgarh art, you might be knowing that's very different kind of art.
Yeah, it's very rich with
It's
all
called
the
tribals, yeah.
tribal art, the gold
Tribals,
art,
they make,
and other,
yes,
yes,
tribal art is very popular. We in Bhopal have a tribal museum,
tribal museum.
a
I've
very
seen it. It's
popular museum,
very
and
elaborate, very beautiful, very well curated
yes,
museum.
it's a
Yes.
unique kind of museum, um, which people, even the foreigners, they visit and they appreciate a lot the kind of tribal museum that has been developed in Bhopal. Then cooking without fire. So here we have taken precaution that we should not use fire, so that is why we have titled this as cooking without fire, where children will learn how to make sandwiches, basic things like beverages, like in Goa, kokum is very popular. So
Right.
when we were in a workshop in Goa, we included all these local recipes that are things that they cook. So this is how the states can actually contextualize in terms of the teaching learning that they would want to promote, the the product that they would like to produce through these activities. Now, coming on the pedagogical approach. So, the pedagogy adopted for vocational education in the middle stage is a judicious balance of direct instruction as well as opportunities for exploration and inquiry through project-based learning. So, the whole idea is to connect multiple subjects, thus promoting interdisciplinary education and helping students to solve complex problems. So the problem solving approach is also there, designing solutions or completing projects which help them to develop critical thinking, problem solving, and teamwork skills. So basically, it is a student centered approach to teaching learning, and students will learn from experience and reflection.
Right.
So when we talk about PBLs, we have to have driving questions, student-centered approach, real-world relevance, collaboration, inquiry-based, reflection, authentic assessment. So students will create tangible products or they will make presentations that demonstrate their learning. And we have given the breakup for the assessment, like portfolio, we have included Viva, was a written test, teacher's observation,
Case studies, projects.
self-assessment. Yeah, everything has been
Right.
inbuilt into the activity book so that we just don't depend on the mark system. We
Right.
have to promote competencies. And when we talk about competencies, it is yes or no, whether you can swim or you can't
You
swim.
can't.
You can do that butterfly stroke or you can't do it. You
Right.
can do backstroke or you can't do it. There's
Right.
nothing like 90% or 60% you can do, otherwise you are not able to.
Right.
So
So,
this is
so
where
unfortunately, we are almost out of time. So, I'd
yeah.
like your last words on this topic to teachers of what their fundamental approach towards this subject should be, because it's new for them also to include it in their curriculum.
Right. So uh, we have to promote skill education in our schools, colleges, universities, ITIs, polytechnics, all kinds of institutions. Why? Because skill, if you don't skill them, let's remove S, you kill them.
Right.
And that is where we have to make the them. We have to promote skill education through a paradigm shift in teaching, learning, and assessment. And that is why NCERT has brought about this holistic progress card, HPC, what we call it, where the overall assessment of a child in terms of holistic development, in terms of holistic education, we have to look at. And
Right.
there lies the importance of it. And this is where we have to uh, bring in all kinds of project-based activities in our school, so that students, they don't just acquire knowledge, but they also acquire skills and attitude, a positive attitude.
Right.
Or
That's
the
a very good message, sir, that we
Yes,
should have a positive attitude towards it, and
yes,
very interesting words in which you summed it up, that if you don't skill them, you kill
right,
them. So this is the call of the time, that we
right,
have to upscale ourselves, skill ourselves, and this is part of holistic learning, multidisciplinary learning, and also imbibes dignity of labor
right.
in us. So thank you very much, Professor
Thank
Mehrotra,
you.
for joining us today and sharing your views. And thanks to Bhumi as well for signing for us. And so this was about vocational education in this series, Transformational Teaching. Please join us again tomorrow for session on physical education at the same time at 10 a.m. Thank you very much for joining us, viewers. Until tomorrow, namaskar.